In a beautiful forest, filled with colorful flowers and tall trees, lived a magnificent peacock. The peacock was proud of its beautiful, colorful feathers. Every day it would spread its tail wide and show off the bright blues, greens, and golds, hoping to be admired by all the animals in the forest. The peacock loved the attention it received. It would strut around the forest, boastfully saying, "Look at my glorious feathers. No one in this forest is as magnificent as I am. Everyone should admire me." And indeed, all the animals would stop and gaze at the peacock, marveling at its beauty. But in the corner of the forest, perched on a tall tree, lived an old owl. The owl's feathers were simple and brown, nothing like the vibrant colors of the peacock. The owl was wise and had lived through many seasons, observing everything in the forest with a calm and thoughtful gaze. One bright, sunny morning, the peacock was again strutting around, showing off its feathers, when it noticed the owl sitting silently on a branch. The owl appeared calm and composed, while the peacock thought, "How can such a dull-looking bird be so still while I am the center of attention?" With a puffed chest, the peacock flew over to the owl and said, "Why don't you spread your feathers like I do? Don't you want to be admired by everyone? Look at me. I am the most beautiful bird in the forest." The owl looked at the peacock with wise eyes and replied gently, "You are certainly beautiful, dear peacock, but beauty does not last forever, nor does it guarantee happiness. I prefer to keep to myself and rely on my mind to navigate through life. Beauty is not the only thing that matters." The peacock, unfazed and confident in its looks, laughed and said, "But what do you know, owl? Everyone looks at me because of my beauty, and I am admired by all. I don't need anything else." The owl, as calm as ever, simply said, "You are right that beauty can attract attention. But remember, beauty fades with time. What will you have left when your feathers lose their color? It is your wisdom, your character, and your knowledge that will truly make a difference in the world. They will help you in ways your looks cannot." The peacock flicked its tail in defiance, thinking the owl was just jealous of its beauty. "Wisdom is all well and good," the peacock replied, "but when you look as good as I do, it's beauty that matters most." The day passed peacefully, but dark clouds began to gather on the horizon. A storm was coming. The animals of the forest, who had been enjoying the sunny weather, began to prepare. The owl, who had seen many storms before, quickly flew into the hollow of an old tree and made sure to shelter itself from the coming rain. The peacock, however, was too distracted by its own beauty to think about the storm. "I don't need to worry about the weather," it thought. "Everyone loves me, and I'll be fine just as I am." As the sky grew darker and the winds began to pick up, the peacock realized that it had no shelter. The branches of the trees began to sway wildly, and the rain started to fall in heavy sheets. The storm hit the forest with great force. The winds howled, the trees bent under the pressure, and the rain poured down in torrents. The peacock, unable to find shelter, fluttered around in panic, trying to shield itself from the rain with its magnificent tail. But the storm was too strong, and the peacock's feathers soon became drenched. Meanwhile, the owl sat quietly in its hollow tree, safe and dry. The owl had known the storm was coming and had prepared for it, using its wisdom to stay protected. The owl did not worry about the rain or the winds, for it had made sure to find a secure place. By the time the storm passed, the peacock was soaked to the skin. Its beautiful feathers weighed down and bedraggled. It shivered as the cool breeze blew through the forest, and it wished it had found shelter. The peacock, tired and cold, finally flew over to the owl's tree and said, "You were right, wise owl. I spent so much time admiring myself and my beauty, thinking it was all that mattered. But now I realize that I was wrong. You had the wisdom to prepare, and I only had beauty. Your wisdom helped you survive the storm, while my beauty couldn't protect me." The owl looked at the peacock with a knowing smile. "Remember, dear peacock, beauty can be admired, but it is wisdom, strength, and character that will help you when life gets tough. Now that you've learned this lesson, you can grow wiser." The peacock nodded, grateful for the owl's lesson. From that day on, it no longer boasted about its feathers, but instead began to focus on understanding the world around it. And although the peacock still had its beautiful feathers, it now understood that true respect came from wisdom, not just appearance.